if you have read the news lately, all of these layoffs have some underlying cause of AI. So when you go back and you see all these layoffs, like Cisco just did a layoff and they're saying, oh, it's AI related. So that brings me to thinking, and you got to stay with me a little bit because I have to explain a little bit. So I was shopping for mattresses yesterday and I was in downtown Summerlin and I was laying on this bed. And then the salesperson comes up and says, this is the newest and best technology. And it's like, how so? And it's like, oh, this is AI powered sleep. It monitors you. And I was like, what is AI in this? And then they were like, well, it's this program that manages, that tracks your sleep. And it's like, so what is AI about it? Oh, I don't know. So comes to me to think, and then I went home and I went down this rabbit hole of AI. What is it actually, and how are people using it to actually justify all these layoffs? And I couldn't find a good idea. I couldn't, because Cisco just laid off a few thousand people and they said, oh, we're investing heavily into AI. And as a business owner myself, I had my employees use artificial intelligence to spell check and summarize emails with Google. So you can do that when you pay for it. When you pay for your organization on Google Suites to have AI powered, you can actually click a button where you enable it, and then you can actually have your employees, use AI. But these AI tools that you can do, and you can just type in Google Spreadsheets and type in a sentence, and it kind of makes a spreadsheet for you, is in its infant stages. It is in its, if it is, I would say it's about 2% developed, probably about 2%. Not even justifiable for people to actually do all these layoffs. Because let's think about this. Let's analyze this from a investor perspective, right? So if you're an investor and you're looking at, I own all these companies, and how can I trim the fat? And then these CEOs are smart and saying, oh, AI is the new trend. So we're just gonna claim and make our numbers look a lot better if we just claim that we're investing heavily into AI and we're letting all these people go. Does it have to be true? Maybe. Is the product even viable and out yet? Probably not. So now when you're looking at, oh, what is AI? So companies can actually just say, oh, we're creating this tool or this program, and then just say it's AI, and then they'll release it, and they say, oh, it's going to it's going to save time, and employees aren't that stressed, and then they just release it into the market and do something. Because when you look at even Samsung now, Samsung phones, you need to get the newest one, so you get AI powered searches and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, an AI powered search thing, that seems interesting, right? How is that even remotely have to do with artificial intelligence, right? So now we're looking at all these companies that did these layoffs, and that just brings me up to one thing, that we have not seen the end of all these layoffs, because market's in turmoil, right? With all these layoffs, stock market is going up and down, and companies need to save money. And the best way how to find an scapegoat is basically just using a trend of AI and then saying, I'm sorry, you guys need to go because, we can save costs and we're investing into artificial intelligence. So when you're looking at, we're investing into artificial intelligence, then I'm like, how does this justify all these layoffs? Because normally when you invest into artificial intelligence, you hire more people to come up with programming, software development, right? And do all these things. You wouldn't let these tech companies would not let all these people go in the Bay Area if AI was such a revolutionary thing, right? Because big movements need people, right? You need people to program it. And I know people are going to scream in the comment section that says, oh, there's not many that can build large language models. Yeah, I know that. But, every time you invest into something revolutionary, it takes time and money, right? And manpower to make it happen. And at the beginning, it's not going to be great. It's always going to have faulty stuff, right? And so you need to figure out the kinks, right? Every new product has kinks. And so when I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, everybody's blaming AI for everything nowadays. And they're saying, oh, I'm going to lay 15% of the people off because I can use AI. Huh. Are you just using a program that you wrote to process, to, automate a few processes and then call it AI and says, oh, we're just going to, call it done? Because this is what I think is happening with all these, VCs and all these other companies. They can say, hey, we've automated a bunch of stuff. We're going to slap AI word on it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to investors and tell them, hey, we automated so much and we've outsourced so much, then we're spot on. And one thing that was really, really interesting to me yesterday, that was, if Amazon, one of the biggest corporations, has people in India, like here, like 1,000 Indians, watch, because the self-checkout thing isn't done that right. Our AI can't do that yet. And I know it takes time to gather the data, to do all that. But if Amazon can spend millions on it and hasn't perfected it yet, then all these other companies, these smaller tech companies, 100% can't do it. Because it's just in the Bay Area, there's a rule. And this rule applies to everything in life, right? You have money and resources, and you can deploy money or resources to get stuff done. And when you can deploy these two resources at the same time, then all of a sudden you can develop great products. And then it's just going to be a matter of time till you actually land a breakthrough, right? If technology allows that. But if you are investing into artificial intelligence like crazy and trying to make it happen, you need to collect data. It's a lengthy process, and your business needs might be different than, your competitors. So you need to be laser focused on it. But when you are going to lay people off and say, this is because of AI, you're just basically using AI as an scapegoat to make the numbers look pretty in the quarter so you can get even more investments, you can claim higher profits. And at the end of the day, if the CEO saves costs, makes more money, he'll get a pay raise, right? He'll get stock bonuses, he'll get all these other things, while everybody else is having issues, right? And now I'm still wondering, what did all these people do that got laid off? I haven't had anybody in the comment section. I'm saying it again. If you were laid off in one of these big layoffs, Dell and anything else, let me know in the comments what you were doing, because I still do not know what these people were doing that were AI related layoffs, right? Were you spreadsheets? Were you operations? Were you just there to drink coffee? I still do not know what these people were doing. I'm reading it on the news, and I don't have anybody in the comment section that said they got laid off because of AI reasons and actually I did X, Y, and Z for this, or I got laid off and I did operations, or I did sales calls, because you cannot do sales calls with AI. It lags. I seen a video of this tool called Air AI, and it's supposed to do sales calls for you. And I've seen it, and it lags. And so you cannot. It's just not done yet. It's just not finished developing. Will it be in 5 to 10 years? Probably. If we're investing into it in 5 to 10 years, we probably have huge advancements, as we do in everything. And then we can start making claims. So we're going to let people go. But right now, 100% all hocus pocus. They're just have to polish the numbers to make it look good, because the economy is in the trash, right? Because when you're looking at all these big companies, everybody's pulling back. Unemployment's high. Last month, we only created like 114,000 jobs. And, that's how much payroll increased and all these other things. When you read online, we're not at a spot where the US economy is booming, and that's why you see all the stock market volatility, right? Because all these other places are looking to the United States like, oh, what's the US doing? And then they all hear, oh my gosh, they're so invested into AI. And so they're going to let all these people go. But then when you peek behind the curtains, it's all a nothing burger, right? So it is really detrimental for all these people that got laid off. Oh my gosh. And I had somebody in my comment section say they got 2 weeks worth of severance. That is not severance. That is not severance. That is basically giving you 2 weeks notice. They let you go today. And I think they also gave him $1,000 from one of these, I don't think it was at a tech company, but somebody just said they got that. And I was like, that's a disgrace. 2 weeks and then you get filed for unemployment. And it is just brutal. It is just brutal out there. And people have been writing me emails saying, I don't know what to do. I got laid off and I'm about to get laid off. Or what do I do? Well, let's look at how to prevent or how to deal with it. So I've seen in the marketplace, I've seen a pretty clear pattern. So if you're working from home, they're going to call you back to the office. That's step number one, right? So if you're working in the office or you were working in the office during COVID and then COVID came and you worked from home and you were allowed to move, was a really stupid decision on your end because, they're calling you back now. So they called you back and then they're going to say, oh, we're investing into AI. They're not going to give you promotions. And then they're going to start forcing you back to the office 3 to 4 times a day. And then if you cannot come to the office, they already got you and they're going to say, we're going to lay you off. And then if you do show back up to the office, then you got to, perform and be business relevant. So when Ellie got laid off, her manager asked her, hey, there's a form that you need to fill out from, my boss's boss. And how crucial you are to the business. So if there's forms around going like that, get your LinkedIn ready, get your resume ready, and start looking for jobs because nobody is safe nowadays. And when you're looking at all these layoffs, all these things, they all have one thing in common. They need to boost quarterly earnings, right? Because that makes the numbers look way, way better, right? So when you're in a situation like that, you really got to be thinking to yourself, what are my next moves? And I'm sorry to tell you, if you were one of these people that moved during COVID, like I did, and you didn't move to a town that can support your industry. So I've seen a lot of people move from Silicon Valley to another state, right? To move to Florida and to move to the beach, to move to Texas. And they were living off of Facebook, Meta, and they were doing all these, moves, and they sold their houses in California. And was smart at the time because, you saved on taxes, you did all this. But now it's coming to bite you back because now you need to move back or you lose your job. And if you move to Florida particularly, then you cannot sustain that lifestyle that you had with a Bay Area or tech salary because nobody's hiring. And in Florida, you cannot support, going into work, you cannot support your financial needs, right? You cannot support your lifestyle because I did a video the other day and said for the average house, you need to make about $140,000 a year just to sustain it. And that is very hard to do. That's doctors, lawyers, and all this other stuff. So now you're in a pickle, right? So that was not very smart. But, here we are. Hindsight's 2020. So we got to be aware of our next steps and we got to plan strategically because these companies loved that we moved. These companies were like, haha. And Allison's company also did that. So when Allie moved, then they were like, hey, it's a remote position. And all of a sudden they said, you got to come back to the office. So, and then, we did hotels, we did RV for a little bit to be back to the office, and it just wasn't feasible. And when these companies were facing financial struggles, they start pulling away benefits, right? So Allison used to get DoorDash stipends, she used to get all these crazy benefits, and they start taking that away. And it was like brutal. You got to show up 9 to 5, you got to be there in the office. It was 2 days a week. Then it was way more than that. And at the end, they wanted her to be in the office like 5 days a week in San Francisco. And then was like, quit and, be done with it. And so she quit and found another job. But now, if you are a tech worker and you're remote, then it's even harder because you can just find another tech worker in India that would do it for a 60th of the price. And I spoke to people in my comment section about this whole issue, and they said they were a manager of a tech company and they just had to let their whole team go. They're the manager, and now they're working. Now they got a team of pure Indians, and they're like, okay, so what do I do? Because my whole team was being let go. They rehired the whole team in India, and they actually forced them to work starting from like 10 p.m. to like 9 or like 6, 7 a.m. in the morning. And they actually forced them to work during nighttime. And yeah, it's globalization at its finest, right? So now, you're looking at it like, oh, these AI fronts, these AI layoffs are just layoffs, and they don't want to look bad to investors, because if you're going to claim, oh my gosh, I'm laying people off because of AI, it makes your company look good, innovative, smart, right? But actually, you're just doing layoffs because you need to make the quarterly numbers, right? And nobody's going to say that, because it looks bad when you say, hey, I need to lay people off because I cannot afford to keep them on, because my quarterly numbers aren't going to reach the target, right? And I kind of get that, that you got to reach the numbers, you got to do what's best for the company. But then again, you're asking people to buy your shitty products, then who's going to buy your shitty products? Then there's a downward spiral, right? You let them go, you want them to buy your products, but they don't have the money. So who's going to buy your product, right? So it's a downward ladder of snowballing. And the joke's on them, because we're a consumer-based economy, right? Americans need to consume to keep this whole ball rolling. If Americans are going to stop consuming and pulling back, who's going to buy this? Who's going to buy this? In Europe, people live in smaller apartments. They can't buy and fill their garage with junk. No, that's Americans. That's Americans that buy all that junk that they tell us, like, oh, buy this, buy this. So yeah, it is all a front. These AI layoffs, I don't know. So let me know in the comments what you think, if your company's developing some huge time-saving AI tool, because I haven't seen it. I know they're going to be like, oh, it's proprietary. Just let me know how much time your AI tool saves you, or how much it is. Because Lemonade, like that insurance company, also was like, hey, we're going to use artificial intelligence and software to save on insurance. And because, we're going to pay out claims depending on that, off of artificial intelligence or whatnot. And I don't see them around no more too much. And I haven't seen ads for them. So I don't know how they're doing. But, they were claiming the same thing, and they're not around anymore. So give it a few years, and then AI will be at a spot where it's really usable and actually time saving. But right now, 5-10 minutes, maybe, summarize some emails, do some stuff, and get some transcripts. But besides that, don't know any good use cases of AI. And yeah, they're telling us in the medical field, they have these huge computers that analyze and work. Yeah, those I get, but that is huge computing, and they're just working on math equations and doing all that. But on a day-to-day operations to save you time, what's the product? Because it seems to me like it's a feature and not a product. So let me know what you guys think. And yeah, this was it for this video. Beautiful Monday morning. I hope you guys have a good day starting the day. Allie's going to a conference today, actually an AI conference, and they're going to talk about, how to use AI in your day-to-day business. So this kind of inspired me to do this video today. And I will then let you know what we figure out in the next few days with this AI conference. Maybe we'll get some good insights, or maybe it's just all nothing. So let me know what you guys think. I really appreciate it. If you've watched for so far, please like and subscribe. And I really appreciate you guys. And follow me on LinkedIn if you haven't. So I'll see you in the next one.